A couple of months ago, I was on a business trip to Las Vegas, and everybody decided to go to a strip club. Everybody being Spencer and Andre. Spencer and Andre, though, are motherfucking hipsters. So I'm not sure if they want to go to the strip club like genuinely or just ironically. Either way, though, I'm in, because I've never been to a strip club. See, I'm just not that kind of guy. In fact, for my bachelor party, it was just a bunch of guys eating like fast food and then playing a vigorous game of Risk. And I feel like I'm in Vegas, I need to have this cultural experience of going to a strip club. But being a new husband, I want to be responsible, so I text my wife. I'm like, honey, I'm in Vegas and everyone's going to a strip club. Should I go along? And she's like, yeah, baby, go see some titties. I'm like, I love you. Me, Spencer, and Andre, we hop into a cab and we head to the Spearmint Rhino, which is a weird name for a strip club. Like, I guess Winterfresh Giraffe was taken. But when we get there, it costs $30 to get in because apparently the Spearmint Rhino was one of the top 5 strip clubs in America. And as we enter, we are like assaulted by this tidal wave of big-breasted women in bikinis. And this dark-haired lady like wraps her arm around me and she goes, what are you here for? And I'm like, I don't know. And she goes, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I think I want to get a drink with these guys. And then she's like, oh, you must be one of the faggots. Goodbye. Apparently strippers are a lot like girls in middle school. Me, Spencer, and Andre were hanging out at the bar, sort of like taking in what we're seeing, and there's just like a place packed of sketchy dudes and stages with poles, and then like ladies that are half naked, and to my left, there's a woman hanging from the ceiling, and she's topless, but she's also like parallel to the ground, and she's making her entire body do the worm, and I am mesmerized. Not because she's half naked, but the athleticism on display there. Like, whatever she's doing should be an Olympic sport, as far as I'm concerned. And Spencer, Andre, and I are hanging out, and this, like, blonde stripper sees that we don't know what we're doing, and she comes over to sort of explain. She's like, you guys look scared. Are you scared? And then she laughs and shakes her boobs at us, which is the best and worst thing all at once. And I'm like, no, not scared, but I'm terrified. And she goes, well, let me explain how this works. So you can watch for free, or you can pay 20 per song for a lap dance, or 80 for a private dance. And Spencer's like, yeah, free sounds good. No, we're good with that. We're gonna watch. She goes, okay, find me, if you stop being scared. So we start like doing laps around this club, trying to find a place to sit down, but it's packed and it's just kind of gross. We can't do anything. And Spencer kind of builds up some courage and he gets a little frustrated. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna get a private dance. So he finds a girl and goes off into a back room. And then Andre finds a seat next to a stage, and all of a sudden I am very alone. And this blonde woman comes over to me and she grabs my hand and she goes, are you ready? I'm like, I don't know. She goes, come with me. I go, okay. And she just starts walking away with me. And she says, is this your first time? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, what do you want? And I go, I don't know, a lap dance? That's the thing, right? She goes, okay. She finds a seat and she sits me down. And like, I've been in a strip club all night, but it still hasn't sunk in what a lap dance is. Like, I don't know what I'm getting. But before I know it, she says, time for some German engineering. And she pulls off her top. And in front of me are these like big fake boobs, and all I can think is, my God, socialized medicine is amazing. But then it keeps going. She like climbs onto my lap, and then my face are just like in her boobs, and I'm thinking like, I am here for the cultural experience. I'm here for the cultural experience. But this is like not the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And then she starts giving me the like idiot's guide of how to get a lap dance. She starts telling me, she's like, grabs my hand and puts it on her, and then she's like, I can't hear you, Mike. And I'm like, thank you, ma'am. I don't know what to say. The whole thing is like a pretty, nice experience. It wraps up, she gives me a kiss on the cheek, I give her $25. It feels very adult and normal, and I'm kind of walking away like, yeah! And I come back to find Andre that's at the stage with Spencer next to him. I'm like, Spencer, how was your private dance? Pretty great, right? And he's like, well, when I got back there, they made me buy $80 in drinks. I'm like, oh, bummer. Andre, how's it been up here? And as I say that, there's a woman in front of Andre on her back with her feet straight up in the air, and she's holding on to the backs of her heels, and then she splits them and slaps them down onto the stage, like clap, 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 clap. And then Andre looks back at me like something was lost tonight that he'll never get back. And he's just like, I think we're ready to go. And Spencer's like, yeah, I think we're ready to go. But now I'm like, guys, no, this is pretty great. I should get like at least one more lap dance. And I'm like, okay. So now I'm strip club guy. Look what happened. So I like walk back into the main room and there's like a girl coming off the stage and she's in a big gaggle of strippers. I think that's like what you call a group. I don't know. And I walk up, I'm like, can I get a lap dance? And then from like, right in front of that girl turns around this black-haired woman and she goes, yes, you can get lap dance. It's the Russian who earlier in the evening had confused me for a homosexual. And she grabs me by like the collar of my shirt and drags me off and throws me down on a bench, and then she takes off her top and goes, that was first song, that's $20. You want more? It's 20 more. I'm like, okay, but I'm trying to be polite, so I go, yes, please, oh, lap dance, okay. And then she just sort of like climbs on me, but she's not dancing like the German. She just sort of lies there and starts making small talk. Like, oh, you're from DC, that's nice, okay. And so I'm like trying to remember what the German taught me. So like I put my hand on her and then she slaps it away. Which one, makes me feel like a huge creep. And two, after she slaps it away, she says, no, I am double trouble. Which I don't understand. But it also reminds me of Team Rocket from Pokemon. And all I want to say is like, meow, yeah, like, right? No? But I don't think she'll get the reference because right now she's licking her finger and wrapping around her nipple, which is just gross. The whole experience is not very rewarding, and like I get up and I pay her $40 and I walk back to Spencer and Andre. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go home, guys. And we climb into a cabin because we're all pussy white guys. We start talking about our feelings. I'm like, oh man, like I feel like kind of gross now after doing that. And like Spencer's like, yeah, man, I feel like I got ripped off. And Andre's just like, I have seen some things. And we hit a stoplight, and the taxi driver like turns to us, and she's a lady, and she's like, guys, I'm really enjoying this conversation. And I'm like, I'm sorry, no, I didn't mean to talk about women that way. She's like, no, seriously, you are the most sensitive boys I have ever picked up from the strip club. And I'm like, really? Thank you. It was my first time, and I was just there. She's like, yeah, you're in Vegas, cultural experience. Like, I know! So, like, I know I'm not a strip club guy, but I'm glad I knocked that off my to-do list. And it's good to know that I'll never go back again, because when I told my wife what happened, she was like, I'm never letting you go back. Thanks.